The term archaeology was first mentioned as early as the 4th century BCE by the Athenian philosopher Plato. This science is ancient, as people have always been curious about how previous generations lived. Yet, despite its age, scientists continue to make new discoveries, revealing details about the culture and everyday life of our ancestors. Many of the artifacts found become the subject of debate, and in this video I invite you to learn about the most mysterious findings of archaeologists, artifacts whose purpose even scientists cannot explain. Enjoy the video. Over the years, archaeologists across Europe have discovered ancient swords with a common distinctive feature, the inscription Ulber on their blades. Researchers believe this inscription indicates the workshops that produced the weapons over several centuries. These swords are collectively known as Ulber Swords. To date, more than 170 examples of this weapon have been found. All Ulber Swords are dated to the period from the 9th to the 11th century. Their discovery is significant, as they represent a transitional phase between Viking swords and knightly swords. What makes Ulber swords especially intriguing is their advanced manufacturing technique. At the time, European swords were typically made using forge welding from small pieces of steel. However, Ulber swords were made from crucible steel with high carbon content, a technology that provided incredible blade strength. This technique appeared in Europe only in the 14th century, leaving scientists puzzled as to how Ulber swordsmiths knew of this advanced method centuries earlier. Some artifacts make us think that ancient people knew and achieved much more than we assume. The Baghdad Battery is one such discovery. For many years, the artifact known as the Baghdad Battery was stored in the Iraqi Museum. It might have remained unknown had it not caught the attention of Austrian archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig in 1936. While inspecting the museum's collection, Koenig noticed a strange jar over 3,700 years old. This vessel was small, only 13 centimeters tall, and its neck was sealed with a bitumen stopper. Puzzled by the jar's purpose, Koenig began studying it. Upon carefully cutting it open, he discovered a copper cylinder inside, sealed at the bottom with bitumen. Inside the cylinder was an iron rod, its end nearly reaching the jar's bottom. The entire structure appeared to Koenig to resemble a primitive electricity generator. This idea seemed far-fetched. However, not long ago, scientists from the University of North Carolina revisited the artifact and demonstrated that a similar setup using wine vinegar as an electrolyte could generate an electric charge of 0.5 volts. Although the experiment was successful, the scientific community continues to reject the theory that the Baghdad artifact was used as an electrical generator. Its true purpose remains unknown to this day. The Shroud of Turin is a highly significant artifact for the Christian Church, as it is believed to be undeniable proof of Jesus Christ's existence. The shroud is a linen cloth, 437 centimeters long and 111 centimeters wide, which Christians believe was used to wrap Jesus' body after his death. Skeptics, however, argue that the cloth is a forgery, as the authentic shroud of Christ was lost. The shroud's history begins in the 14th century, when a cloth bearing the imprints of a man's head, hands, and feet was brought to France. Clergy immediately identified the imprints as those of Jesus Christ. The shroud was placed in the Church of Lyre, drawing thousands of pilgrims eager to see the miraculous artifact. Despite its sacred status, the shroud was purchased in 1452 by Duke Louis I. It then found its way to Chambéry, and later in 1578 to the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, northern Italy. Debates about the shroud's authenticity began almost immediately, but gained traction in modern times. Scientists have attempted to verify the artifact's origins, yielding contradictory results. Researchers at Los Alamos National Laboratory created a 3D image from the shroud's imprints, confirming that it depicts a human face. However, this does not prove that the face is Jesus Christ's. Other scientists conducted radiocarbon dating, which dated the cloth to the 13th century CE, suggesting the shroud could not be authentic. As you can see, scholars have not been able to confirm or debunk the Shroud of Turin, as the sacred cloth used to wrap Christ's body. Today, the custodians of St. John the Baptist Cathedral have prohibited further investigations, leaving the shroud's mystery unsolved. The Dropa Stones are arguably the most mysterious artifacts in human history, primarily because no one is certain if they ever truly existed. The story of these artifacts began in 1937 when Chinese archaeologist Chi Pu-te discovered an ancient burial site in the Bayan Har Shan Mountains. During the excavation, he unearthed mummies and strange discs. Each artifact had a hole in its center, from which deep double grooves extended, inscribed with hieroglyphs. Chi Pu-te had never encountered anything like them before, so the artifacts were sent to Peking University, where Professor Zum Nui was tasked with studying them. The professor spent 20 years attempting to decipher the hieroglyphs. What he claimed to have found sounded like pure science fiction. The inscriptions narrated a story of extraterrestrial contact with humans. According to the texts, around 12,000 years ago, a spacecraft belonging to aliens known as the Dropa crashed in the Himalayas. Unable to return to their home planet, they decided to stay and live on Earth. When the deciphered texts were published, the scientific community was in shock and dismissed them as implausible. Consequently, Professor Zum Nui relocated to Japan and became a recluse. It is believed he took the artifacts with him, as they were never seen again after his departure. What makes this story even more extraordinary is that, according to Peking University, no scholar named Zum Nui ever existed. The only evidence of the Dropa Stones is a set of photographs taken by Austrian engineer Ernst Wegener. However, these images could depict entirely different artifacts. The mysterious artifact known as the Feist Disc was discovered in 1908 during excavations in the city of Feistos on the island of Crete. It is a terracotta disc, 16 centimeters in diameter, with inscriptions on both sides. For more than a century, scientists have tried to decipher the text on the disc and determine who created the artifact and for what purpose. Unfortunately, nothing has been learned about the disc to date. It remains unclear whether it was made on Crete or even when it was created. The only key to solving this mystery lies in decoding the text on the disc. Leading linguists continue to attempt deciphering the inscriptions, but they remain far from the truth. There are numerous hypotheses about what is written on the disc. Some experts believe the text contains hymns to deities, while others suggest the artifact hides details of historical events of that time. The two texts on the Feist disc consist of 242 symbols, each made up of more than 40 distinct signs. Some signs depict familiar objects, such as bows, shields, helmets, and more. The symbols are arranged in a spiral and divided into groups by vertical lines, each containing between 2 and 7 signs. Interestingly, the symbols are not engraved but stamped into the clay using special seals. It is believed this artifact may belong to the Minoan culture, whose existence was confirmed only in the 19th century. Even if the disc was indeed created by the Minoans and dates back to 2700–1400 BCE, this does little to help scientists unlock the mystery of its text, as this civilization remains poorly studied. In the 1930s, employees of the United Fruit Company, clearing land for future banana plantations near the Diqui River in Costa Rica, discovered mysterious stone spheres. They appeared ancient and seemed man-made due to their perfect shape. The workers believed the spheres might contain treasures inside, so they began destroying them, though it was not an easy task. News of this discovery reached scientists, who managed to stop the vandalism. In total, about 300 mysterious stone spheres were found in this area. After studying the spheres, it was revealed that they consist of limestone and sandstone and are approximately 4,000 years old. The spheres vary significantly in size, with diameters ranging from 2 centimeters to 3 meters. The largest sphere weighs 16 tons. Scientists sought to determine the origin of the mysterious spheres, but they have not succeeded. For this reason, the stone spheres of Costa Rica are considered one of the most enigmatic artifacts ever found. Of course, scientists have several hypotheses explaining the origin of the spheres. For example, geologists suggest they were formed as a result of volcanic activity. However, traces of polishing found on all the spheres indicate they are man-made. But who created these artifacts and for what purpose? Perhaps the ancient inhabitants of Costa Rica made them, but conspiracy theorists believe the spheres are connected to extraterrestrial civilizations. Although the mystery of the stone spheres remains unsolved, they continue to be of great value and are considered part of humanity's cultural heritage. The Ladov Plate has been considered one of the strongest pieces of evidence for the existence of extraterrestrials. However, the story surrounding this artifact is shrouded in mystery and inconsistencies. The unique object was reportedly discovered in Nepal in the mid-20th century and later sold to a Polish collector named Sergei Ladov. The collector was impressed by the plate's unusual design, which featured engravings of the cosmos and humanoids with elongated heads. Ladov was somewhat skeptical of the artifact's authenticity and decided to show it to his friend, David Agamon. Agamon was equally astonished by the plate and traveled to Nepal to learn more about its origins. Locals told him the artifact was over 12,000 years old. Furthermore, they claimed that the plate was just one of several dozen, although the others had been destroyed. According to the locals, a community that existed in the region 12,000 years ago had contact with an alien civilization known as the Dropa. Agamon was so captivated by these stories that he wrote and published a book titled Sun Gods in Exile. Many readers were impressed by the tale and began searching for more information about the Ladov Plate. However, no additional evidence about the artifact was ever found, leading many to believe it was a fabrication of the author's imagination. Near the famous Inca capital of Cusco lies the remarkable Sacsayhuaman Fortress. Built in the early 16th century, this mighty citadel is located in the Andes at an altitude of approximately 3,500 meters above sea level. The fortress remains a subject of debate among scholars. Sacsayhuaman is surrounded by zigzag walls with a total length of about 400 meters. These walls are constructed from massive stones, with the largest weighing over 350 tons. The logistics of transporting such enormous stones from the quarry and assembling them without the use of specialized machinery seem almost inconceivable. Moreover, the walls are constructed with incredible precision without the use of mortar. The stones fit together so perfectly that even a sheet of paper cannot pass between them. Many experts argue that it would be impossible to build such a structure by hand, leading conspiracy theorists to suggest that Sacsayhuaman was built by extraterrestrial civilizations as a gift to the Incas for their favor toward aliens. In 1996, strange metallic pipes were discovered near Mount Baigong in China's Qinghai province. They appeared to be part of an ancient plumbing system, prompting scientists to immediately investigate the remarkable find. Research revealed that the pipes varied in size, with diameters ranging from 2 to 40 centimeters. However, the most astonishing aspect was their age, estimated to be over 5,000 years old. Additionally, the chemical composition of the pipes showed that they consisted of iron oxide with a high inclusion of silicon dioxide and calcium oxide. This remarkable discovery led scientists to speculate that the pipes were constructed by an advanced ancient civilization or even extraterrestrials. The site of the pipes became a popular tourist destination, as people were eager to see what they believed to be an alien artifact. However, after years of study, it was determined that the Baigong pipes were fossilized tree trunks. Thousands of years ago, part of a forest was buried under sedimentary layers. Water rich in iron seeped into the cavities between the trees and the surrounding rock. Over millennia, this process formed an iron shell resembling pipes, which remained embedded in the mountain. The spheres of Dorp were first discovered by miners near the city of Dorp in the northwest province of South Africa. These artifacts intrigued scientists, who are still trying to determine their origin. The Dorp spheres are small, spherical, and disc-shaped objects, measuring just a few centimeters in size. Their distinctive feature is the presence of longitudinal grooves and indentations. When scientists discovered the spheres were about 3 billion years old, conspiracy theorists concluded they were directly linked to extraterrestrial civilizations that visited Earth when life was just beginning to emerge. These theorists believe the spheres are made of metal and have such a remarkable form that they could not have been created naturally. This idea is intriguing, but scientists hold a different view. Geologists explained that their analysis revealed the spheres are not made of metal, but of hematite, wollastonite, and pyrite. Moreover, their interior features a radial, fibrous structure of the mineral. Most likely, the spheres are geological formations created from minerals over long periods due to oxidation and weathering processes. The head of Calixatlahuaca is a fragment of a small terracotta figurine discovered by archaeologists in 1933 during excavations near the village of Calixatlahuaca, about 60 kilometers from Mexico City. Expedition leader Jose Garcia Payon immediately noticed that the figurine's head had Europoid facial features. This led to speculation that the artifact was made in ancient Rome, approximately in the 2nd century BCE. But how could it have ended up in an ancient Native American settlement? Unable to answer this question, Payon decided to keep his discovery a secret, sharing it only with a few trusted colleagues. Scientists learned about the enigmatic terracotta head only in 1959. However, thorough studies of the artifact were not conducted until 2001. These investigations revealed that the figurine was indeed crafted over 2,100 years ago. Despite this, scientists still consider the artifact a hoax, arguing that ancient Romans could not have reached the shores of North America. While this is likely true, other ancient Roman artifacts have been found in Mexico. It's possible the terracotta head was brought to North America many years after its creation. Nanmadol is a small archipelago in the Pacific Ocean near the Micronesian state of Pohnpei. Essentially, it is a complex of artificial islets made of basalt monoliths and coral blocks, interconnected by a system of canals. The tiny islands are home to the ruins of temples, stone palaces, and residential buildings constructed between 1285 and 1485, likely belonging to the Sodalur culture. The archipelago was first discovered by Europeans in 1529 when it was spotted by Spanish navigator Álvaro de Saavedra. However, serious exploration of the site only began in the 19th century, by which time Nanmadol had already been abandoned. The abundance of temples and palaces indicates that Nanmadol was an important religious center. Historians believe the principal deity of these people was the thunder god, analogous to the Polynesian deity Tangaroa. The main island of Nanmadol, Nandawas, served as a defensive fortress where the ruling dynasty could feel safe from enemy attacks. This island also housed military garrisons and prisons. The Sodalur ruler's palace was on the island of Pan Kadira, while the main temple was located on the island of Edid. Nanmadol is a unique human creation and is often associated with extraterrestrial or mythical civilizations. Even today, residents of the Micronesian state of Pohnpei believe that deities and spirits still inhabit the archipelago. Some archaeological finds are truly astonishing. One such artifact, which you can now see on your screen, was discovered in the Painted Desert of Arizona. The object, buried in the sands for over 1,500 years, initially appeared to be a shield, likely belonging to a wealthy individual. Despite extensive study, scientists remain baffled about which civilization might have created this remarkable object. Archaeologists have never encountered anything like it, and further excavations in the area yielded no answers. No similar objects or human remains were found in the region, leaving the shield's origins a mystery. Scientists are particularly intrigued by the face depicted on the artifact. It resembles an alien's face, and judging by the photographs, the eyes on the shield appear to glow, despite the absence of any batteries or lamps. It is possible that the effect is due to stones capable of reflecting light. Unfortunately, the mystery of this artifact remains unsolved. However, One day, scientists may uncover which civilization produced such extraordinary objects. The Fuente Magna artifact was discovered by a farmer in the 1950s near the ancient city of Tiwanaku in Bolivia. Unaware that the large bowl with inscriptions and images was an ancient and valuable object, the farmer began using it to feed livestock. Several years later, by a stroke of luck, the bowl was seen by archaeologist Max Portugal Zamora. He purchased the artifact from the farmer and named it Fuente Magna, which can be translated as Great Bowl. Zamora noticed that the bowl contained cuneiform inscriptions. He spent a long time attempting to decipher them but was unsuccessful. Eventually, the archaeologist sought assistance from Bolivian scientists, who dismissed the artifact as a forgery and stored it away. In the early 2000s, the bowl caught the attention of Bolivian researchers Bernardo Biados Jacovazzo and Freddy Arce. They observed that one of the cuneiform scripts was strikingly similar to Sumerian. The researchers then showed the artifact to Dr. Clyde Winters, an expert in Sumerian writing. He managed to decipher part of one text, which told a story about the Sumerian goddess Nia. However, the language of the second cuneiform text remained unidentified. Other scientists continue to believe that Fuente Magna is a well-made forgery. They argue that the Sumerians could not have had any contact with the indigenous peoples of South America, as such contact would have required them to traverse the vast Atlantic Ocean and the Andes Mountains, an impossible feat in the 3rd millennium BCE. Since scientists have yet to reach a consensus on the authenticity of Fuente Magna, the bowl remains a source of controversy and an out-of-place artifact. In 1992, a resident of Longyu County decided to debunk local legends about a nearby body of water, which was said to be bottomless. To do so, he purchased a water pump and began draining the lake. As the water receded, the man noticed depressions resembling grottos at the bottom. He decided to report his discovery to scientists. Researchers studying the grottos found that these depressions were entrances to 24 underground caves, which were not interconnected. Analysis of stalactites revealed that the caves were carved into siltstone during the Qin dynasty, specifically in 221 BCE. The Longyu caves consist of enormous halls, each covering more than 1,000 square meters, with ceilings as high as 30 meters. The vaults of each cave are supported by 3 thick pillars. On the walls of the halls, archaeologists found numerous depictions of humans and animals. All features of the caves indicate they are man-made. However, their construction was incredibly complex. Scientists estimated that the builders had to remove approximately 36,000 cubic meters of stone, without any modern construction equipment. Interestingly, upon closer examination of the caves, scientists discovered very fine and barely visible stripes on the walls and ceilings, arranged at a 60-degree angle. Conspiracy theorists believe these marks are traces of specialized tools that might have assisted in the construction of the caves. However, such tools did not exist at the time, leading some to speculate that the Qin dynasty might have received help from extraterrestrial beings. Of course, scientists do not support this theory, suggesting instead that the marks might have formed over time due to changes in weather conditions and temperature fluctuations. Another intriguing theory suggests that the caves were artificially created by the Chinese government to attract tourists, and they were excavated shortly before their discovery. As you can see, the construction of the Longyu caves remains a topic of much debate, making them one of the world's most mysterious places. Göbekli Tepe is the oldest known megalithic structure that has survived to this day. Its purpose remains a mystery. The ruins of Göbekli Tepe were first discovered in the 1960s on the Göbekli Tepe Hill in Turkey. For some reason, scientists at the time chose not to conduct excavations in the area. It wasn't until 1994 that archaeologists from the Istanbul branch of the German Archaeological Institute decided to investigate the site. During the excavation, expedition leader Klaus Schmidt concluded that he had found one of the oldest structures, a discovery that would become a scientific sensation. Dating of the ruins revealed that Göbekli Tepe was built around 12,000 years ago. Remarkably, the famous British Stonehenge is nearly half the age of Göbekli Tepe. Construction of Göbekli Tepe continued for thousands of years. Scientists believe it served as a large temple complex, as evidenced by images of snakes, associated with the underworld by ancient tribes, and numerous animal remains likely used for sacrifices. Of course, the idea that Göbekli Tepe was a temple complex is merely a hypothesis. The exact purpose of the structure remains a mystery, as does the method by which ancient people transported massive megaliths weighing up to 12,000 tons to the site. The Perirace Map is a unique world map, a fragment of which was discovered in 1929 by Halil Edhem in the Topkapi Palace in Turkey. The map was created in 1513 by Ottoman admiral and cartographer Perirace. The most striking feature of this artifact is that it depicts Antarctica. This continent is believed to have been discovered in 1820 by Russian explorers. However, the existence of the Perirace Map challenges this fact. Perirace never traveled to Antarctica and relied on geographic information from other cartographers when creating his map. Some of these sources date back to the 1st century BCE. The most astonishing aspect, however, is that Perirace depicted Antarctica without ice. It is worth noting that the coastline of this continent was free of ice more than 6,000 years ago. But who could have charted Antarctica 6,000 years ago? Was it humans? Or perhaps extraterrestrial beings? Unfortunately, these questions remain unanswered. The world learned of an unusual object called the Baltic Anomaly in 2010 when it was discovered by Swedish treasure hunters from the company Ocean X. The company was searching for a sunken ship in the Baltic Sea using sonar when they spotted an object of unusual shape at a depth of about 87 meters. Ocean X decided to investigate their discovery. However, as soon as they lowered specialized equipment into the water, all instruments and cameras stopped working. A second attempt also failed, prompting them to inform scientists about the mysterious object. Once news of the Baltic Anomaly reached the media, numerous hypotheses emerged to explain its origin. These included theories about secret World War II technology and even a sunken alien spacecraft. It's worth noting that the object does resemble a spacecraft in shape. Scientists, however, insisted that the Baltic Anomaly is a natural formation, with its round shape and smooth depressions caused by erosion and water currents. This explanation did not satisfy Ocean X, and the company conducted an independent study of the object. Their investigation revealed that the Baltic Anomaly is composed of unknown metals not found on Earth. Unfortunately, Ocean X and scientists have not reached a consensus, and the Baltic Anomaly remains one of the most mysterious objects on our planet. In 1901, an ancient shipwreck was discovered near the Greek island of Antikythera. Among the various artifacts found aboard was a mysterious object with gears. At the time, no one understood its purpose, and the strange artifact was forgotten. In 1951, the find caught the attention of British historian Derek de Solla Price. Over 20 years, he studied the artifact and concluded that the mechanism was an astronomical device for modeling the movements of the Sun, Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. This discovery astonished the scientific community, as the artifact was about 2,100 years old. Michael Wright, a British expert on ancient mechanisms, continued the study of the Antikythera mechanism. He was able to recreate a more accurate replica of the device and demonstrated that it could also model the movements of Mercury and Venus and perform arithmetic calculations. Modern scientists have made significant progress in studying the Antikythera mechanism and have created an almost identical replica of the original. This was possible because later, missing parts of the device were discovered. It has been proven that the mechanism could calculate 42 astronomical events. The capabilities of this device are truly impressive and seem like ancient science fiction. The most mysterious manuscript, known as the Voic Manuscript, was acquired for a private collection by Polish antiquarian Wilfrid Voynich in 1912. This manuscript is a handwritten illustrated book consisting of 240 pages. Virtually nothing is known about this manuscript, not its author nor the exact date it was written. The text of the book is also a mystery, as it is written in an unknown language. It's possible the text was encrypted, though some scholars believe the manuscript is a hoax, created by its author to play a prank on future generations using invented symbols. The manuscript is thought to have been created between 1404 and 1438. As the parchment, it is written on dates to the early 15th century. However, the text could have been written later. Attempts to decode the manuscript began as early as the 17th century, suggesting it was created sometime between the 15th and 17th centuries. For nearly 400 years, the best cryptography experts have attempted to decipher the manuscript's text. It seemed impossible until Canadian programmers from the University of Alberta recently developed artificial intelligence for decoding the manuscript. Astonishingly, the AI managed to decode the first lines of the book, which described a girl giving advice to her acquaintances. This breakthrough has given scientists hope of unraveling the greatest mystery of the Voic Manuscript. It also confirmed that the book is written in an encrypted language. However, its author remains unknown. In 1957, amateur archaeologist Guy Melgren discovered an astonishing artifact, a silver coin, on the shores of Penobscot Bay in Maine, USA. Initially identified as a 12th century English penny, the coin was deemed of no particular interest. It wasn't until nearly 20 years later that a numismatics expert identified the artifact as a Norwegian penny minted during the reign of King Olaf, between 1067 and 1093. This discovery was sensational. Archaeologists launched extensive excavations near Penobscot Bay, hoping to uncover the ruins of Viking settlements. While many artifacts were found, none belonged to the Vikings. The mystery of how a pre-Columbian coin ended up in New England remained unresolved. Scientists proposed numerous theories, including the possibility that Vikings were the first Europeans to reach North America. However, most researchers believe the coin reached the area much later in the late 13th century and was not used as currency. Most likely, it was obtained as a souvenir by Native Americans from traders. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Your support is the best reward for me. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Goodbye.